Hello there, my name is Luke and welcome to my opinion on the National League North season so far. So we're about 15 games into the season so far, so it's a good enough time to have a look back and reflect on which teams have made a really good start, they're where they want to be, and which teams are not quite living up to the expectations that they have of themselves. So in 22nd place is Stalybridge Celtic. They've got 6 points, which is 2 wins from their opening 15 games. So 13 losses out of their first 15 games. They've really not done very well so far. They've replaced their manager. They've got new joint managers. They're not doing very well. In 21st place is Bradford Park Avenue on 7 points. They got their first victory of the season on Tuesday night. It only took them 16 matches. So they're finally off the mark in terms of victories. They're not doing well, are they? So neither of those two teams are anywhere near where they want to be, but Altrincham are a long way below where they want to be. Newly relegated from the National League, only on 7 points in 20th place. That's really bad. Like, they should be much higher. So I thought they would be up near the top. They're usually pretty decent. They've been in the National League for a couple of years. They've come down, not adapted very well at all. In 20th place is Curzon Ashton. They've got absolutely horrendous home form. Away they're okay, but at home they're abysmal, really, to be honest. So with John Flanagan in charge, really experienced manager, been at Curzon Ashton for a long time. They'll be hoping that they can stay in the league. Basically, that's pretty much going to be their aim, I think. Then up into 18th is Nuneaton, full-time side. Their model really means that they should be doing better than they currently are. To warrant them being full-time, they need to be challenging for that promotion, but they're just not doing that this season. They've let go of their best player, Elliot Whitehouse. He's gone to Lincoln, so they're sort of almost giving up by the looks of things. They'll be looking to stay up, probably should be looking to do better. Then moving up the table, in 17th we have Gainsborough, in 16th we have Boston, 15th Alfreton and 14th Worcester. All of those teams are on 16 points. I think Gainsborough, they'll be happy just to stay up this season, so things are going to plan really for them. Boston, they got into the playoffs last year, so they are definitely underachieving. They lost Dale Southwell in the summer. Big striker for them, scored so many goals. Big loss overall, really. Alfreton, they have conceded the most goals so far this season. 41 goals conceded in just 14 matches, but they've actually scored 35, so they're scoring loads, conceded loads. Really good for the neutral, not brilliant for the Alfreton fans. And then in 14th is Worcester on 16 points. Again, another team that I think will just be looking to stay up, so things are going to plan as far as they're going. Then above them we have got FC United of Manchester in 13th on 17 points. Mid-table, that's sort of what they'll be hoping for. They're just slowly progressing as a football club, so this sort of progression, I think they'll be happy with how this season's going so far. Then in 12th is Telford. They've had some really bad financial issues so far this season. They've had to let go of some of their first team squad. They've got a really small squad, including quite a few loanees, so they're really struggling, but they'll be happy with mid-table, I think, so far. Tamworth down in 11th. They sort of started off okay, then they had a good spell, then Harriers went and beat them 6-0 in the league, and then they completely dropped off ever since, and they're now down to 11th. They'll be okay with that. They'll be hoping to do better, I think. Then in 10th, a team that's definitely hoping to do better, that's Salford City. Big investment that they've made at the start of this season. They've got a really big budget, a lot of expensive players. First example of that is Michael Nottingham, their right back. Got Player of the Season, I do believe, I'm fairly sure that's right. Player of the Season, that title-winning side, Solihull Moors last year. And Solihull obviously wanted to keep him, but no, he decided to go to Salford, basically money. So they've got a really expensive squad. They'll be really disappointed, actually. They'll be hoping that they can really redeem themselves. They started off the season really strong, but they're about 7 games without a victory now, so they're struggling a little bit. In 9th is Stockport. Really big club, really big attendances, big stadium. They're a bit of a sleeping giant in that sense. They should be up in the Football League. They're a Football League club. They've got a Football League set up and fan base, in all honesty, really. So they should be a lot higher. They were a lot higher. They were in the Championship only about less than 10 years ago, I think. So they're just not really progressing enough. They're not progressing quickly enough. They're just stuck in the National League North, and they don't look like they're going to be changing that this season. Then in 8th is Brackley, 7th Gloucester, and 6th is Harrogate. So Brackley, I think they'll be happy with that. They'll be really happy with that. They just stayed up last season on goal difference, and then they were in a relegation battle the season before as well. So for them to be up in the top 8th, I think they'll be really happy with that, actually. 7th, the same with Gloucester. Gloucester, really, really small budget. They haven't got their own stadium. They're ground sharing with Cheltenham. For them to be up in 7th, they'll be really happy with that as well, I think. Team spirit, those two teams, really showing how important team spirit is. Then Harrogate in 6th, started off the season really well. They've had a few really tough games recently, including playing Harriers on Tuesday night and lost 2-0. So they've made a solid start. A team that's got an interesting model. I believe their younger players are on full-time contracts, but their more experienced players are on part-time contracts, which is a model that seems to be quite clever, actually. I really like the sound of that. I don't know why more teams don't sort of deploy that sort of model, but they've started off the season fairly solidly. 6th place, right on the knuckle in the door of the playoffs. Then in 5th place, my beloved Kidderminster Harriers. We're doing really, really well this season, playing some great football, getting good crowds because of the football that we're playing. We're playing exciting, attacking, entertaining football. We've won an awful lot of games, more than I would have thought that we would have done at this stage of the season. I've been really, really impressed with all of the squad. We've got a new manager, John Eustace. First managerial job, he's been really, really impressive. Was actually linked with the Coventry job a few weeks ago, which he said, no, I'm not going. But yeah, thank God he's not going. But if he does go, I'll be absolutely gutted. So yeah, we're really, really happy with how we've started. In 4th place is Chorley, and they're a team that defends really, really solidly. They don't score a huge amount of goals, but they don't let many in. So that's really been working for them really, really well this season. They've got a lot of sort of 1-0s, 2-1s, little victories like this, which are sort of the sign of really good teams that are going to finish quite high at the end of the season if you can consistently get those sort of narrow wins. Then in 3rd is another newly relegated side, same as Harriers. That is Halifax. And Halifax, they've started off the season really well. They dropped off a bit, but now they're on a ridiculous run, about 5 or 6 games in a row that they've won now in the league. So great form for them. Tom Denton's back amongst the goals. He started off the season in great goal scoring form. Then he had a bit of a goal drought, and now him scoring more goals has coincided with Halifax starting to do really, really well again. So I think he's going to be vital for them. Did really well for North Ferriby last year, helped them massively get promoted. Dropped back down to the National League North with Halifax, and he could be a big reason to why they stay up at the top, near the top of the league. 2nd place is Darlington. They're just scoring so many goals. They've scored 10 in the last 2 home matches. Newly promoted side. I thought they would. I predicted that they would finish 13th in my pre-season prediction. How wrong am I so far? They've just defied all expectations, really. Like they probably came into this season with really high expectations on the back of back-to-back promotions. Obviously a newly formed club only a few years ago. Big fan base, decent budget as well. Still part-time, I do believe, but they've got the likes of Josh Gillies and Mark Beck. They're just really quality players that should be at higher levels, but they're helping out Darlington. And then in 1st place, AFC Fylde. Got biggest budget in the league, best squad in the league, best striker in the league in Danny Rowe. He is genuinely the best player I've ever seen in non-league football. This is just ever. I've not seen a better player in my years of supporting Harriers, so he's just ridiculously good as a striker. He can just score he scores all sorts of goals. He scores free kicks, long shots. His shot power is insane. That's probably his biggest asset. Great attacking team, good players around them, full time. I think they'll win the league. Going to plan so far for them. Then looking to the home form league table, 1st and 2nd is Darlington and Fylde. They've both got 18 points from 8 home matches. Very solid at home, both of those teams. It's a sign of a team that's probably gonna finish really high up. Down at the bottom, worst home form is Curzon Ashton and Altrincham, both on 2 points, both without a win at home this season. Then away form, AFC Fylde are top of that list as well. Darlington is 2nd. AFC Fylde have got 19 points from 7 away matches, which is absolutely outstanding, really. They're down at the bottom. The worst away form is Gainsborough, only 1 point away from home. Then for the form in the last 5 games, and Darlington sit top of that table, 13 points in their last 5 games. 2nd is Fylde, also on 13 points from the last 5 games. The worst form in the last 5 games is Staleybridge, who've lost every single game in the last 5 games. And the top scorer in the league is, unsurprisingly, the man I mentioned just a minute ago, Danny Rowe, AFC Fylde. 20 goals so far this season. It's just ridiculous how good he is. Then 2nd is Tom Denton with 12 for Halifax. These have all got 9 goals. Dan Bradley of AFC Fylde, Luke Hopper of Gloucester, Lee Hughes of Worcester City, John Paul Pittman of Harrogate. They have all got 9 goals. So that's it for my review of the National League North season so far. If you've enjoyed this video, then remember to hit that like button and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be my National League South preview. Although it isn't actually done by me, it's done by a special guest, so it's something for you to look forward to. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Fourth place, and it is a team that is on 30 points, the same as Barrow, and it is Tranmere Rovers. They've replaced their manager Gary Brabin with Mickey Mellon, a legend of the club, so the fans are happy with that. They never really took to Brabin.